Good morning, good afternoon, good morning, happy Saturday. It is such a pleasure to see all of you, and I'm so glad that you have decided to join us for another Saturday here on HACTV, Haitian American Caucus. As you know, this is an organization where young Haitian Americans here living in the States decided and challenged themselves to doing something for the community at large, Haitians that are here, and especially Haitians in Haiti. So this week, we are so excited. We have a dynamic guest. I'm so excited you're here. I am going to give you a few minutes to go and stream this on your Facebook and other social media platforms and invite other powerful women, other men, your children, your daughters to come and join us. Because I don't know if you know, but March is Her Story Month. So that is where we highlight women making history, her story, hence her story. But this Monday is Women's International Day. And that is huge because that means all across the world, everywhere, from the United States to South America to Latin, to Europe, Africa, India, China, all over the world, we are highlighting women. And not only are we highlighting women, but we are standing up for women. We are standing up for gender bias. We are standing up for equality. We know in this great state of New York, we are working towards pay parity, where a woman will earn the same amount as a man for the same job. So we're working hard. I know you probably noticed this amazing calendar behind me. That is a calendar for Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who we lost a few months ago, but we are honored by her story. But enough about all of this. Again, my name is Shirley Paul, and I will be your host today. Hopefully, we might have my regular co-host pop in, Josh Pierre, who is an avid supporter of women, and he stands with us all the time. But today, without further ado, we have an amazing guest. Eunice, are you here to join us?
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I am great, and I love that enthusiasm. So today we have Eunice Pierre, who is, when I'm talking about super powerful, she's a mom, she's a teacher, she's a moderator of conversations, and she is a voice in our community among women, and not just Haitians, because when we see women, we see everywhere, we see life. And she speaks up for women. So I am going to give her a couple of minutes to introduce herself and tell you about the full amazingness that is Madame Eunice Pierre. Thank you for joining us.
I thank you so much for having me, Shirley. Bonjour, bonsoir, bonne nuit. And happy Her Story Month, guys. It is a pleasure to be here today to be talking to you. I think it's very important to highlight her story, right? Your story, my story. Every woman have a story, and our story is our stories are dynamic, strong, um, and where I believe that women are the most powerful beings on earth. My name is Eunice. I am a single mother of five by choice. I am a teacher, like she said, first grade. I'm the founder of Femme, which is an organization empowering women to live a purpose-driven lifestyle and to look at their situations as part of their journey, but not their destinations. And yeah, I'm a makeup artist. I have an online store.
You
I
are
do
just
things.
you are just exactly what women are. Just everything, a bit of everything. Moms, leaders, teachers, and teachers in the classroom and outside of the classroom. You said so much, and I want to touch in the time that we have together. I want to touch a little bit of everything. But I must say, I cannot help but notice and admire that beautiful background. And it says "Keep smiling," and it is the silhouette of a woman. How powerful
Yes,
is that
yes.
story? Can you share with us that about a little bit about that piece behind you?
So it says, keep smiling because life is a beautiful thing and there is so much to smile about. And that's a quote from Marilyn Monroe. When it came up to making this space for me, I thought about the things that would keep me energized, the things that would keep me going. And I'm always smiling no matter what. I can be going through whatever. I always keep a smile. I believe a smile keeps you young. And it can, and as a woman, when you smile often, people, moun pa bezwe kon business sou. De pou kon sou level, tout bagay okay, right?
Yes,
And, you know,
yes.
and when someone walks in here, I want them to feel welcome. And no matter what's going on, I want them to remember to smile, right? A
I
smile goes a long way.
I appreciate that. And that is so true. You know, I always believe in smiling despite what's happening. And I love when you described your organization, Nous Femmes, when you said you want them to know that whatever their challenges may be of today, whatever they're facing, that's not all them. That doesn't completely make them. And to keep smiling actually reiterates that because, you know, you have to look forward to the future. And I always think a smile is so helpful because, you know, a smile may brighten someone else's day. A smile is a representation for me of my faith because despite what's happening, I'm smiling, I'm going, I know things are good, and I'm thankful. So you said a lot. Now, I do want to start. I do want to save your children for, I want to come to that towards the end. So
Okay.
you said you're a first grade teacher. And as for me, who happens to be, I might be a little dorky for this, but I am friends with my first grade teacher. Like now I called her friend.
Wow.
We have dinner every couple of months. And since the pandemic, she is much older
I
and
can imagine.
in a vulnerable population. So what I've started to do with her is a little phone happy hour. We don't drink, but we just chat. But so tell me about your professional life. How long have you been teaching and what brought you there?
So I don't think I ever thought of teaching. Um, funny thing, I never thought about, like, I don't think that was even the last thing in my mind. I love beauty, right?
Okay.
Hence I went to beauty school. I'm a makeup artist and esthetician. So this opportunity came, I think it's been 2 years, by the way, 2 years.
Yes.
So I don't know what happened. And there was an opening at my children's school, and it was the summer. I just had a baby. I was transitioning from, I think I did not like where I was at and I wanted to leave. I was actually working for an organization, a very known organization, well-known organization here. From Haitian. So I was working for them and then I wanted to transition into something else. And the opportunity came. I'm like, my kid's school. I took it and I ended up loving it. And I learned so much from them. Their different personalities, the way they react with each other. Like they can be in an argument today and tomorrow they come back and this is my friend. And I'm just like, wow. Si la vie me deka facile comme ça, right?
And for my community that's listening, you know, she said, if my life could be as simple as the resiliency of children, pretty much. You know, we have some guests that our audience is all inclusive of all kinds of powerful women and men. But I love how you hop back and forth.
Right. And sorry guys, I apologize for that. But yes, and also being able to watch them leave with something. I know last year during her story month, we had an event, but it was for both males and females. And the questions that they were asking, even for Black History Month, the event we just had, the questions that they were asking, I would never think that, you know, at such a young age, they would be interested in these things.
Yeah.
Seeing them grow. I had them last year for kindergarten and now they're in first grade and I have them again for first grade. I don't wish to go to second grade with them. I want to stay right here where I'm at. But just watching them grow and being able to make an impact in the lives. And I have one student, you know, it was very hard to reach him last year as he went through trauma. He lost his mother on his birthday, and his birthday happens to be in December. So imagine how hard that was for him, and just watching him grow and be opening up to me and becoming comfortable, and now being able to come to school and actually stay in class and not have, the different episodes that he has is so amazing. And I just love it. I really do.
Good. And we love what you're doing. Trust me. Children need it. And I thank you for the support that you are giving to that young man. Now, tell me, do you think there's an additional impact that you bring to the classroom as a woman?
I think,
Woman instructor.
right? So the first thing is I have a very strong personality, right? And I'm that old-fashioned Haitian mom that don't play. And you can hear my students say, "Oh, Miss Eunice don't play. Miss Eunice don't play. Don't play with Miss Eunice." And once I come into class, it's like silence. It's like a cemetery silence. There's not a pencil dropping, and it's the discipline, I guess, that I try to instill in them. And I've seen the growth. Right, children. I always say this: children want someone to teach them the way, right? They need guidance. They want guidance. No matter, I don't believe there's a such thing as a bad kid. I think there are kids that need more attention than others. And sometimes some needs more patience than others, and some kids need a little reinforcement. And I'm all of that, right? I'm Miss Eunice the friend. I'm Miss Eunice the mom. I'm Miss Eunice the strict person that does not play. I'm the CSI teacher, the art, whatever you need me to be at the moment, I can be that for you. And I think as women too, being teachers, we represent so much because the children are with us majority of their time. When they get home, they're tired, they go to sleep. So they see us majority of the time. So being somewhat of I don't want to say a mother figure to take that away from the moms, but as a woman, we kind of play that role too in the classroom. And we develop that relationship with them where we care for them as we care for our own children. And I see each child as my own children. Like I get to know them, their personality, and I know when to say, "I'm not playing with you." And if you tell me one of them did something, I can literally tell you if they could do it or could not do it.
Oh, wow. So, as I heard you say all of the many roles and hats that you wear in the classroom, it just brings me to our title for tonight, for today, which is Undisputed, the Power of Women. And we are undisputed champs, not to take anything away from the men. I love them. I love having them around. I love seeing them. But they're even without us, there is no them too.
Exactly.
So I thank you for that support that you're bringing to the classroom. That's beyond just the instruction. And I think oftentimes that's the dynamic strength of a woman to recognize that, yes, I'm here to do a job, but I'm aware of the emotional aspects of this job. I'm aware of everything else. And I want to wear those many hats. I like to call women jack of all trades because we do
Right.
a little bit of everything. So now tell me a little bit about Nous Femme and how did that come to be? And what
Whew.
does that mean? Yeah, I know what it means, but tell our audience what it means.
So, when it came up to finding a name for the organization, right? I'll give you a little history. So, I always knew that I wanted to start a woman empowerment organization, not like the ones that I see, right? I remember going through some things in my life and just looking for a platform or something or somewhere where I can be empowered to, by hearing someone else's story that's been through something similar, and that's not going to sugarcoat it with me. That's not going to give me the typical recipe I prayed, but that's going to really tell me, hey, these are the steps that I took that took me from A to B. And I couldn't find it. I would YouTube, I would go through, like, I couldn't find the answers to the questions that I had. And I remember the first time this organization came to mind, I called it a night of joy. So it was supposed to be a thing that I do every night, every December, once a year. And it was supposed to be a gala where I raise money to donate to women's shelters. And then I'll have like poetry and different things, right? And then honor some women not the typical women that they honor, but women ordinary women, everyday women. I'm talking about the Publix workers. I'm talking about the people that are making the small changes, but that are really affecting lives, right? I don't know for you, when I go to Publix and someone helps me out or helps an elderly person to their car, that is such a huge thing that, we don't look at it as that, but helping someone who, let's say, an 80-year-old person who can't walk, carry a bag to the car and things like that, and doing it with a smile and not looking for anything in return is so powerful to me. And it weighs a lot, right? And it takes a special person to do that and to do it with a smile. So I wanted to really empower those women, right? The women that can't afford to pay the $50 to go to an empowerment brunch, that don't have it, but need to be empowered as well and want to know that someone sees what they're doing. So I started with that. Then it came, and I'm like, yeah, that's not enough. So then I came with BB's Foundation. At the time, my company was called Beauty by BB. And I'm like, hey, BB's Foundation. I had that for a while. And I'm like, nah, that's not doing it. So then I started a podcast. And I changed it to Single Mothers Blues. But then I'm like, I don't only want to, cater to single mothers. There's so many different, women. There's women that are not mothers, but that are doing other amazing things. So I'm like, no, Single Mothers Blues is not working at all. So then now I had to find a name, right? I tried everything. I'm Googling, I'm praying, I'm like, Jesus, can you just give me a sign, right? So I'm like, We Are Women. So I'm researching the We Are Women name, and it's not available. I couldn't find it anywhere. Everybody, it's already taken, it's not available. And I'm like, okay, how can I still say we are women without saying we are women? and I'm like, oh, Creole. I tried it in French. I'm like, no, it's not hitting it. So I'm like, let me translate it to Creole. So that's how I came with Nous c'est femmes, which just means we are women. It's Creole, Haitian Creole for we are women. And I came up with the name, and then everything started developing from there. So that was my confirmation, knowing that this is what it is. And as I did it, other people were coming up to me, offering me to speak here, do this, do that. This is my second year that I've held the mission, vision, Thank you. Empowerment conversation for my friend's organization, Access Bridge. So I'm the one who present for interns every year. I help them to set up their personal vision and mission. And, everything was just coming together. I'm like, yeah, that's what it is. That's how it came. So I'm just trying, right? I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm trying to be a voice for the voiceless and also empower women to live a purpose-driven lifestyle. I believe we all have a purpose, and we might not know it now. I always say this is part of your journey. It's not your destination, and never limit yourself to the environment that you live in. Do not. I did that for so long, and I realized that I was hurting myself, right? So we all have a purpose. You just have to, dig a little deeper. You might need to hear a few conversations. Some people going through the things that you're going through now, people that went through it and now, have succeeded and are doing great. And you probably need to hear that to bring you out of where you're at. But no matter where you're at, you have a purpose. You were not just here by accident. And I believe in helping women find their purpose.
That's right. That's
living in purpose.
And
that's Nous c'est femmes.
a few things, because in developing that name, I hear so many amazing things in your story. First off, as a woman who loves God, I love the fact that you said that you prayed about God showing you whether this was the right name, and once you got it, things started coming. So for you, that was confirmation. So I love that. It's so good to invite God into the process of everything, from the least of things to the greatest of things. Now, you also mentioned Publix. Are you in Florida?
I'm currently in North Miami Beach, Florida.
Okay, so
that's where my office is, in North Miami Beach. But yes, I do live in South Florida.
Okay, I knew that. So we are going to give folks an opportunity to know how to connect with you. We can put that in the chat, your website, and I'm sure my team will flash that across the screen. But you can let us know how can someone get in contact with Nous Femme?
So easy, you can email me eunice.pierre. So it's EUNICE dot PIERRE at nusifam.org.
Okay.
You can go on my website, www.nusifam.org. You can contact me there, Instagram, nusifam underscore. You can DM me and you
Hey,
can even call me. My number is on social media and on the site 305-215-0367. And I'm actually looking for we're launching the podcast pretty soon. It's been a long time coming. It was supposed to be a show, but because of COVID, we've decided to do a podcast. So we're looking for people, amazing ladies to interview, and I mean amazing. That doesn't mean you need to be moving mountains.
yeah,
Um, just being a mom to me, and caring for your children and making sure they do their homework. That's amazing. A stay-at-home mom. I was that for a few years. I was a stay-at-home mom for almost 5 years, and I know the amount of strength that takes
that takes
to do that. It's hard work. I always say I would work 2 jobs before I do that again. So we're looking for women to interview. So please feel free to contact me if you wouldn't mind sharing your story with someone else.
Thank you. And we love that. So if you're listening, this is a great opportunity for you to join and find. And I'm sure as women, we always do. We find a way to fit everyone in. So whether it's your story, whether you could give some time, look at me out there plugging for you.
Thank
We'd
you.
love for you to be a part of Nous Femme if you're in the North Miami area and even outside of that. Because I'm here in Brooklyn, New York, and we're chatting. So that's great. But you also, so I want to get to something because in just learning about you in advance of this interview, you just have such a powerful and unique story. And you said something that stuck with me when you said you had a lot of questions and there were things you wanted to talk about or ask, and you didn't find that voice. If you don't mind, will you share a little bit of what it was that you were looking for, and share a piece of that story? That story, so we could invite folks in, whatever you're comfortable with.
No problem. So I've spoken about this on numerous platforms before. I was sexually abused by my mother's boyfriend, his friend, and her husband's father, right? Sexually abused by them at a young age. And I remember when I approached my mom the first time, she said I was lying to go back. And she even sent me for a summer at this guy's house. And I guess I don't need to go into details of what exactly happened. But I hated my mom for many years. My mom passed away and I still hated her. I hated her and her death. And I think I used to get counseling when I was in middle school. I tried to commit suicide, and so they used to come in and counsel me, and nobody knew. They would just take you out of homeroom. People think you're going to the office or whatever, and they try to be as discreet as possible, and that helped me. Right, I healed from that. And I stopped blaming myself. I stopped going through the episodes of trying to, destroy my life. But then that hate was still there. Being Haitian, you're taught not to talk about that. Even when my mom finally believed me, because one of my sisters went and made it a little public, I was sent away to my father's mom house. So I was taken away from I was born in Haiti, by the way. I migrated here with my family when I was 5, and then my mom went back to Haiti with us, and we stayed there for about 4 years. So I was sent away to my father's mom's house, and I couldn't come back to the house as if I did something wrong, right? You would think like, okay, something like this happened, let your parents talk to you, which is what I think I wanted. But I never got the chance to talk about it. I remember they came, they got me from my mom's house downstairs, and my mom was upstairs. They brought me upstairs. My mom was smoking a cigarette. She looked at me, tears came out of her eyes. She said, "I'm sorry. You're going to your dad's mom's house, and I'll send back for you when I'm ready."
Wow. So wait,
I was
I want you to keep going, but I do want to capture uh, some things that you've said that's so first of all, I thank you for the power that God has given you to share your story, to be comfortable. And I'm thankful for the healing that you were able to get along the way. But I think something, because you said, when you said what happened, you said, we're Haitian, so no one, you're taught not to talk about that. And it's so important to talk about the cross sectionality of of culture when it comes to high speaking up for ourselves, highlighting abuse, and stopping that. So I just, that was super powerful and courageous of you as a young woman. That's why when I look and think of Monday being International Women's Day, it's not just about full blown adults. It's about young girls and what they see. It's about you being in that classroom and someone seeing you, feeling comfortable with you to speak. So I just thank you. And that is just, that's super courageous. And what you're doing is you're creating that space. You're standing up for equality for women, for a voice. Um, we just appreciate you for all of that, and we really do. So I do want you to continue, but I had to get in here because it's so amazing to see the power that you come with and speaking about such what is often such a somber topic, so hard to say. So I thank you for continuing to go to other platforms to talk, because it's through your voice that other women will speak up, and not just women. The UN has said, in honor of International Women's Day, they say a challenged world is an alert world. Individually, we're all responsible for our own thoughts and actions all day, every day. We can choose to challenge and stand out and call out gender bias and inequality. And the work that you're doing, while it may be hard to relive some of that, but you're being empowered through that, and you're empowering other women. So we thank you. We applaud you. Um,
Thank you. Thank you.
no, seriously. And especially as the daughter of immigrants, I'm Haitian too. I know it's difficult talking about just about anything that challenges the norm of when children are supposed to be seen and not heard. So to touch
Yes.
such a big topic is powerful.
Yes. And I agree. My grandmother used to always say they're supposed to see children, not hear them. So, and I grew up with that. Like, you can see me, and then it got to the point where you're supposed to see women, not hear them. And I'm just like, wow. So I go through my whole life. They just see me, not hear me. So I'm
Mm,
just mute. But then from a very young age, I had a little voice, and I always spoke up for people. I'm always speaking up for someone, and I'm always taking somebody's defense. And that's just who I am. That's naturally who I am. It's something that just happens naturally without me even trying, right? I
yeah.
just kind of like, it just happens. I'm always standing up for people. But so that happened, and it took a long time for me to heal. And through my adulthood, when I became a mother myself, I used to always compare myself to my mom, right?
Mm,
And I think that hindered my relationship with my children. I always tried to keep them away from me because I thought, you know, who am I to say that I can, have be a good mother to these children? Like, I used to always look for excuses to send them to Haiti. Like, my kids they've lived in Haiti for 2 years. Yes, I took care of them. I sent money, but I like traveled probably 5 times a year to 6 times when they were in Haiti, but they didn't see me, right? It was my way to have them Otijan, sorry, a little
okay.
far but close, right? I'm paying the money, I'm taking care of them financially, and that's after me and my husband separated. But they were not physically with me, so I didn't really have to deal with them in a
Wow.
way. My auntie was dealing with that, and I was just working and sending the money. And I would see them when I wanted to.
So
Uh,
what changed?
so I healed from my hatred for my mom. After a few years of her passing, um, I started taking my life with God a little serious. And through meeting, I met someone that still is a very good friend of mine, and she challenged that thought.
Mm.
And I began to see my experience as a testimony and as a um not as a burden
Yes.
or as a I didn't see it, no, it was no longer a burden, it was no longer an excuse for me to do things. It was now, this is a lesson, this is a testimony. You can use it to help other people heal. You can use your story to empower others. There's people, and that's so true, that yesterday while I was on Clubhouse moderating a conversation with a few other young ladies, I spoke about it. And I happened to speak about it, the subject was about removing people. And I don't know how it came about that I spoke about it, and um, someone came up to talk about it. And then, I spoke about it, and the lady came up and she said, "Oh my God, you just helped me and empowered me to talk about my story." So, that really meant a lot to me. And I think that that has really played a big role for me, knowing that when I speak about it, people can actually open up and heal from it as well and relate. So that's that part of my life. And, I healed from it. I moved forward and I brought my kids. Now my children are all with me. They've been with me for a few years now. And I feel better as a parent. The fact that I not only healed, but forgave my mom, and I moved forward.
Amen.
And I think me and my kids have an amazing relationship. Now I get hugs and kisses, and I'm comfortable. I no longer feel like, when my son used to hug me, I used to be so afraid, like, oh my God, what is he doing? And now I can hug him in public, at home, I don't care, and I show affection.
And you know you're worth it and you deserve it. So you are just so I am in awe of just the power of you and in sharing this. And I just want you to consider this and possibly pray on this. You should think about penning this down, like writing about your story. Because if you can move people in just a few moments of sharing the words, and that's all part of your healing process. It's a continual growth. I'm no counselor or anything like that,
No,
but
but it is because you do go through moments where you go back a little bit, and it affects you. Like the simplest thing might bring that back up and bring a thought. Yes, I agree. Thank you.
right. No, thank you. And thank you for being so brave here on this platform and everywhere else you go. But it's a privilege to have you. And especially again, while this month is symbolic in that there's not attention brought to women and her story, this is every day for us, and Monday. And what's happening Monday around the world is even bigger in that not everywhere is as developed as we are in their thinking about women. Even I think of me being a young Haitian, well, I'm a young Haitian woman now, but just growing up, what I think about is um, you know most of my mom's friends, some of them to this day, I don't know their first names. Some of them I didn't know until I became an adult, because in the culture, you get married. If I married a guy named Robert, I'm Madame Robert,
That's true.
which completely, and it sounds, I think, in a way, to me, the way I view it is, it seemed something very proud to be, right? Because it designated you as a woman that was married.
Yeah.
Um, and while that's beautiful, but it removed your entire identity.
And
You
that's the part I view it as.
so I think, especially in our culture, so much happens, and so much happens in that immigrant culture, especially when parents leave the children back and come, there's a lot. So to talk about it, you're empowering people. So Nous Femme is, you guys are just doing dynamic work, and I pray that Nous Femme continues to expand and touches all communities. But I do want to talk about a job that I noticed, I think is probably your most important role? Because when you mention those kids, you kind of you light up. So tell us. So I know you said you're a mom of five.
I
That's
am.
amazing. So the children are ranging from
So
oh,
my son is 12. My ba- my youngest is 2. And let me say this. There's a 6-year gap between my 2-year-old and my other child, right?
yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh,
I don't know how that happened. I did not want to start over, but she's amazing. She lights up my life. And something that happened to me during me giving birth to her and everything like that. I was moving from one place because in Florida, housing is really funny. It's really hard to find a place to rent. But I happened to be moving from a location to another, and I rented this place. I went to the place, I cleaned it up, and did everything, and I paid the guy. And the day I'm supposed to move, I go there to move in, and here goes the realtor is about to do the closing, and I called water and sewer, like, excuse you, like, here's my key. And this person took my money. It was fraud, of course. And the police gave me a card to the local homeless shelter and told me to just count it as a loss. As a single mom, of 5 kids, you don't know what it took for me to save the money, and do all of that. And it's so many women that have been through similar things. And at that time, I called every shelter that I knew in South Florida. Nowhere had space. I resulted in, and I spoke about this before, so I'm very open to talk about. I resulted into sleeping in a car with 4 of the older ones because they had to go to school, and I gave my friend the youngest one. I had nowhere to go for 2 weeks until I found a place,
wow.
borrowed money to go move somewhere else. And through that whole process, I want to tell you something. My kids came out being in the principal's bring on the principal's honor roll.
Wow.
I don't know how that happened. They make me so proud. They're not perfect. All kids have their ups and downs and challenges. They're what I call dizzled at times. But they made me very happy at that time, because though we were going through that storm, I had to explain that to you. They never said a word in school. And
Wow.
I watched them, and I'm like, man, you guys are so little to understand what's going on, and to be able to say, Mommy, let's pray. Mommy, God's going to make a way. And my son just praying
Oh,
when I couldn't pray over myself, when I didn't have the faith, he had the faith. And for
wow.
me, I think sometimes we're looking for, to go somewhere and have this big message, but as a mother, your children sometimes have what you need. And that helped me to understand why I needed to stop running away from them, because I hated the idea of being a single mother, and now I embrace it. Like, I'm a
Wow.
boss at this. Like, what? I got this.
So you know what? We're gonna definitely have to invite you back because you just have a little bit of everything. But that's a testament to you, your resiliency, your power, and the value that you're instilling in them. And I pray and hope that if you ever have any moments where you're feeling discouraged, you know that you are doing the right thing. They are learning from you and they are watching you. So we are going to wrap up our powerful. You have kicked off her story. You are going to be a tough act to follow. I do want to end and ask you, what has there been a woman in your life that you can say is an inspiration, a role model that you look up to? Um,
Funny thing is, my mother
I knew
has become
it.
my role model. And I say, and let me tell you, yes, she's made mistakes, but through growing up and being a single mother myself, I understood that she did the best that she could
Yeah,
with the hand that she was dealt.
yeah,
I sometimes ask myself, how did she do it? Right? Though, she fell short sometimes, but I would say her, and alongside her, it would have to be my adoptive mom, my best friend's mother. She
okay.
took me in when my mother got ill and was in a nursing home and everything. I would have to say she's like right under there, because she taught me a lot of lessons in life. through her resilience. She has 7 children. I don't even know how she did it. And she told me she used to, and I'm highlighting her for Nusifam this month as well. On Monday, I'll be publishing her story. But she used to work at a factory getting paid $3 an hour and managed to raise 7 kids. Don't ask me how, because I'm still trying to understand that from her. But yes, I would say my mom and my adoptive mom are the 2 role models for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you are one for many women, the women that get to hear your story for your kids. And we at HACTV, Haitian American Caucus, we are delighted to have you with us today. Please go check out Nous Femme. If you're in the Miami area, go check them out. If you're anywhere else, go check them out. So find a way to support Eunice Pierre, this amazingly powerful woman. We thank you for sharing your time with us during this wonderful month of her story. And we look forward to all women knowing that they too are just as dynamically powerful. They are unique and created in greatness this Monday as we celebrate International Women's Day. And I will end off. Thank you everyone for joining us. Keep coming back every Saturday. My name is Shirley Paul, and I'm gonna steal your note back there and say, keep smiling. And that's what I pray we all do. And have a safe and wonderful weekend. And challenge yourself to step up for a woman, not just this month, but all the time. And let's keep fighting for pay parity. Take care, everyone. Thank you for joining us, Eunice.
Thank you. It was a pleasure, Shirley.
Every life has worth beyond measure.
Within each person is a flood of potential,
waiting to be unleashed.
What if every child,
every woman,
and every man was able to imagine something new,
full of hope,
new dreams, and the ability to choose their own future? A new way of seeing the world,
the community,
themselves.
Pushing past the obstacles that once were. And when the world yells, you cannot.
We will keep whispering, yes, you can. Together we can make a difference.
Together we are stronger.
Able to move mountains and break the chains of poverty.
Haitian American Caucus, strengthening Haiti through
education,
health, feeding programs,
micro enterprise. We are Haiti. We are HAC.